Settle down, brother. This is the Quarter Report powered by ANC.com. South Africa is a movie. Welcome to the watch party. What is the worst possible thing that the leader of a political party could say before a local government election? It would be, guys, can't we just be more like our main opposition? Well, that is exactly what Cyril Ramaphosa told ANC councillors from across the country. The writing is on the wall and it looks bad. Very, very bad for the ANC. ANC President Ramaphosa basically said, by the way, can't we learn from those guys? They're doing a great job. Which frankly is like just an insane thing to do, because now all the DA is going to do is run ads talking about how Ramaphosa says that the ANC should be more like the DA and learn from the DA. It's like manna from heaven, a gift. And we're going to talk about it today, as well as a lot of other very significant things said by different ANC leaders at this big general meeting to try and figure out how possibly the ANC believes that they are going to avoid total blackout disaster come the 2026 local government elections. Whatever the results are going to develop into a bellwether for what's going to happen in 2029 and fundamentally shape the narratives around the national election coming in 2029. So we're going to talk about all of that today. This might be the last time for a long time that we don't talk about the Madlanga Commission. It is starting like right now. And so we're going to go and watch it, and we're not going to panic-strickenly just go on a low-quality YouTube live or selfie video tape on our phones this evening and basically read you the news of what just happened to try and just, harvest all of your clicks by providing you basically nothing. No, what we're going to do is our normal schedule on this show, where the day after each day, we're going to properly give you analysis and a comprehensive report of the significance of different things that happened the day before from the Madlanga Commission. Tomorrow, we will talk about this first day of the Madlanga Commission, literally starting right now. The only place that you can watch the full show is on ANC.com. If you're watching on YouTube right now, click on the link in the description. There's another link there to www.3beaniesnetwork.com, which is where you can get your merchandise. Let's talk about this absolutely it's just a disaster moment that happened with the African National Congress this weekend. So they got all the ANC councillors in one place, over 4,000 of them at FNB Stadium in Soweto. They were all there, and ANC chairperson Gwede Mantashe spoke, and ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa spoke. And a lot of people don't know what Mantashe said because Ramaphosa's headlines were so wild. But it was genuinely an extraordinary moment to watch. Okay, so obviously it was an ANC meeting, and so there were lots of people singing struggle songs and celebration songs of the liberation for the fight for freedom that was successful and how the ANC led it, and all these songs like lauding the ANC as the great saviors of South Africa, regular programming. And then Gwede Mantashe stood up and said, I know that there are a lot of singing councillors, but there are no councils. We all sing well, but capacity dololo, which means we've got nothing. That, if Ramaphosa hadn't said what he said, would have made huge headlines. He literally just called out the entire ANC culture of arriving at these conferences, acting like Jesus had come again with an ANC piece of merch on his person, and ignoring all of the ills of the African National Congress and all of its failures and all of its scandals and all of its neglect over the country, and just doing the singing, dancing, everything is great, we're going to do a renewal thing, and basically said, y'all embarrassing, stop singing, you're not doing your jobs. And the mood in the room shifted, hey? It was wild. It was like people being called out in such a profoundly deep way, the likes of which I've not really seen at an ANC, and it was so biting and so incisive. And I'm thinking to myself, there's a mood shift happening here. There's a kind of messaging happening here that I've just not seen in an African National Congress meeting before, which was supposed to be about how we're going to try and recover our successes and like get popular and get votes. I actually want to mention, I didn't know that the ANC had a chaplain general. Did you know that? But Reverend Molefe Tsele said, we can either continue as usual and that is the end, or we change course and be renewed. And such a renewal will be even more glorious and greater than ever. It will be a historic renewal. Now, if you have ever wanted to play a drinking game, just go through the ANC for the last 10 years, and every time there's renewal, have a shot. You will be under the table in 10 minutes. It's always a renewal. It's always, we're going to make this better than ever before. We're going to turn the ship around. But then Tsele, or Reverend Tsele, went on to say, quote, it is a dangerous time to use the soccer language. It is injury time. You can either become a champion or you are knocked out. This is the time that all of us are gathering here this morning, and we dare not lose. which really feels like something out of a Rocky movie. Like, why is this the moment? And I understand what he's trying to say. I think that the mood within the ANC meeting, for the first time that I've ever seen to this extent, was explicitly, guys, we're in trouble. We're going to lose power if we don't do something radical and fundamentally different. You either become a champion or you are knocked out, which is an extraordinary message to say. But then Ramaphosa said this thing, and I think it was Juanita Hunter, esteemed journalist and columnist, who wrote, like, sometimes telling the truth is just a terrible idea because of the fodder that it gives to your ops, to your enemies. He said, there's nothing wrong with competition. The best run municipalities are often DA-controlled municipalities. We need to ask ourselves what it is that they are doing that is better than what we are doing. There's nothing wrong with us saying we want to go and see what Cape Town is doing and what Stellenbosch is doing and how they craft everything. Now, yes, but don't say that on a public platform in front of the watching media. That is such cannon fodder. The DA doesn't need to do any campaigning now. It's just like, oh, told on yourselves. And that can be all of their messaging. It can be all of their coverage. They're already doing it, right? So Helen Ziller tweeted an AI-generated image. She's writing like answers to an exam, and he's like cheating, looking over her shoulder for notes. Another AI-generated cartoon was of Ramaphosa literally running and wearing a DA outfit. It's just an extraordinarily, I have to say, terrible thing to say. And for somebody who's usually so astute and so careful with his words and so deep thinking and so contemplative and trying to figure out what is exactly the right thing to say and not speaking if he has to, it really leads me to ask, and some other people have been speculating on this, why did he say that? Him saying that is just not going to make his ANC councillors start behaving differently. It's not going to make them suddenly deliver radical service delivery to their municipalities in the year that they have before 2026. It's not going to motivate them to prove that they're effective councillors or get involved in their communities or prove that they're not corrupt or any of these things. And it gives the entire country the, oh, wow, the ANC has finally admitted the thing. It reminds me of when Fikile Mbalula was criticizing Jacob Zuma and said, do you know how embarrassing it was for us to have to go and tell the country that it was a fire pool and not a swimming pool about Nkandla? It's like, why did you say that? It's such bad strategy. And it's just like, on the one hand, I was thinking, well, you know, Cyril's only got 3 more years. He's more worried with his legacy now. He's trying to separate himself from the muck. He's trying to say, I'm not a part of this disaster. The local government is the problem, not the national government with the ANC. Maybe that's a strategy to fortify themselves, ironically, a firewall against a bad local government election performance in 2026. So that then in run up to 2029, they can say, the problem is ANC local, but when you come to us, vote national in 2029, we're trying to fix the local. So he's trying to basically divide within the ANC to outsource the blame. Maybe. But even if he's doing that, again, such bad strategy. He's just handed the silver bullet to all of the opposition in terms of their campaigning for 2026, when the opposition can say, not even the ANC president can deny the reality anymore. He's said that unprovoked to his own people in front of the watching world. It's just so weird because it's so too late. Nobody in the country is going to think in the next year, oh, the ANC's really pulled off up its socks in my neighborhood. And that's why, did Cyril just lose control? Did he get swept up in the moment and just say something that is objectively self-harming for the African National Congress? I don't see any way that saying that would be helpful, let alone not harmful for the ANC. And that's crazy to me. That's really crazy. And maybe we sometimes assume that the top operators are too smart. Maybe we just assume that they're like, well, they're the top operators, so they always get things right, or they must be very good at what they do. Sometimes they just flub and make really bad mistakes. But I was like jaw on the floor by that. And I think that more than most other quotes from most other ANC leaders, this will haunt them in the run-up to 2026 and beyond.
It is because you can't argue that he forgot the media was there and was just talking to ANC, comrades, if you will. But I can't think of many examples when a president of South Africa has gone, I was wrong, or admitting to a mistake.
Yeah.
Because it's not good optics, but at the same time, maybe it's a play on just honesty. And that we can trust the president. You know what I mean? I know this sounds silly, but at the end of the day...
No, I'm not laughing at your idea. I'm laughing because I think you may be right.
Well, it's just the theory,
Because-
but like,
Because he's done that before, right?
Yeah.
Actually, you know what, Eric? Maybe you're right. Because he did do the 9 wasted years thing. When he was there for the 9 wasted years, he
Yeah.
was the vice president. He has before tried to separate himself from the bad elements or the perceived to be poor PR elements of the party. But to do it this badly.
no, look, the trade-off is not great. The trade-off is not great at all. I'm just thinking, like, I'm trying to find some silver lining or some kind of positive note to go out on. Like, oh, okay, like he's just being honest as a president.
Maybe he is.
Never mind, we don't know where the couch went, but like,
Damn it, we didn't talk about that.
well, it was in the news like this morning, right?
They said that the Pala Pala couch is being reupholstered.
Is
That's
that-
why it
is that
wasn't
the answer?
there. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Vincent Magwenya, the presidency spokesperson, came out and said the couch is being upholstered. That's why when the Hawks arrived to investigate it, it wasn't there. That and other short stories.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.